everybody, I just wanted to share my sketchbook with you guys. I participated in the sketchbook project that's the Brooklyn Art Library. Basically, you can request a sketchbook and you fill it. You have about 10 months to fill your sketchbook any which way you want, and then you send it back and it'll be forever housed in that art library. And on the back, there's a little tiny code. So if anybody ever checks out your sketchbook, they can, you get notified. It's pretty cool. So I got mine about 3 months ago, and then I decided I kind of wanted to dedicate the whole book to the moth, hence the ode to the moth. I've been fascinated with moths lately, or not lately, a while now. I think they're kind of the stepchild of the butterfly. They never really get looked at, and they're quite beautiful. So I've just taken a few moths that I really like because the book's not that big, and just added them to the book. So it's more of a instructional book, not instructional, but I would use it at school, maybe show my students. So this first moth is, I think, amazing. It's the Madagascar sunset moth. Looks like a butterfly, but it's definitely a moth. But I think the colors are unbelievable. Most beautiful moth. And then on the back, I just did this because you cannot cover the barcode. And I also decided to leave this cardstock exactly this color. So this moth I did with watercolor, colored pencils, and Sharpie. So then on the inside, it says scary, the first page. I guess it all starts with a dot taken for a walk, which is true. Every drawing starts with this dot, who then creates something. So this line leads you through the entire sketchbook. So first moth is this one. So I pretty much only focused on recreating this moth. It's the Automaris franki. It's a male species. I didn't really draw any background other than using soft pastel for a pink color. And this one I did in watercolor and colored pencil. And then when I realized when I did that the pages of this sketchbook are a little thin, so the watercolor came through, which then made me have to add, I glued pages together to make them a little thicker. So next moth is this one. It's the hummingbird hawk moth, and it's just an amazing little moth. It imitates the hummingbird. And I am from Germany originally, and we do not have hummingbirds in Germany. And a few years back, I was sitting on the balcony and I watched flowers, and I saw this little hummingbird, what I thought was a hummingbird, fluttering by. And when I realized, this is this moth, and I was just fascinated. It behaves exactly like a hummingbird. It flies like a hummingbird, eats like a hummingbird. Only difference is it obviously doesn't have a beak, has this. But it's, how can Germany have a moth that looks like a hummingbird and we don't have any? I always wondered. Next moth is the garden tiger moth, and I just included that because I think the colors are just amazing. And I've decided with this one, just very simple design, just soft pastel, colored pencil, and I did a little bit of watercolors and colored pencil and soft pastel. And the next one is the giant leopard moth. I'll put this a little higher so you guys can see it. I decided to not draw it with wings spread out. I just liked this look of this moth, and then I recreated it a couple times. And it's pretty much graphite pencil, Sharpie, and soft pastel for the background. Next one is the rosy maple moth, and that moth is truly amazing looking. It's pink, yellow, and I thought it looked like an alien, and so hence I decided to create a spaceship and I just done a lesson with my second graders on outer space and spaceships. So I had her land on this guy's ship. And pretty much marker and watercolor and colored pencil. And then next one, this is the Pacific Green Sphinx moth. It's just a beautiful example of a moth. And I did this one in mainly colored pencil, and not sure if I'm super happy with the way it turned out. Had I to do it over again, I would have done it a little different, but I ended up using, it was too bright. I ended up using soft pastel to kind of dull the background. Yep. And then the next one is the Peach Blossom Moth. Just amazing patterns. Like, look at these colors. Not happy with this flower. Don't like that I used orange for this color. Should have done it differently, but I guess I wasn't really thinking. I was just doing while I created this. Next one is the 6-spot Burnet Moth. I like the profile view. It looks like it's a cartoon character that's about ready to speak or have a role in a little play. And then this one is the Luna Moth, and I decided to draw half on this side and half on the other side. And the Luna Moth is an amazing moth. It looks like a ballerina. This is the other side. And it only lives for a week, and in that time span it does not eat at all. I did this in markers and soft pastel and colored pencil. Yes, I think so. And then the next one is this one. It's just a plain brown moth. I know it has a name, just don't know which one. I just thought it was beautiful, and I added these little few flowers and soft pastel again for the background. And then this one is the Harnessed Tiger Moth. The pattern, I mean, this could be a stained glass window. If you create a handbag, this would be a great pattern. And then I drew the flowers and decided to use soft pastel to kind of dull them. And then here are a couple moth facts that I added on the back. So moths tend to have thick, hairy bodies. When perched, their wings lay flat. Moths often have feather-like antennas. That's how you can identify them easily. This one doesn't, but most of them do. There are about 10 times more moths than butterflies, and they're a major, huge food source for all kinds of animals. The Luna moth and some other moths do not eat while they're alive. They're masters of disguise, especially the brown ones. They can sometimes very difficult to spot. Night blooming flowers depend on moths for pollination. Moths and their caterpillars are a major agricultural pest in some parts of the world, which is unfortunately true. Moths and butterflies hear sound through their wings, and a Cecropia moth can smell its male 7 miles away through its antenna. Isn't that amazing? 7 miles? And most species only live for 1 year. So this is my little sketchbook. It's kind of more of a instructional kind of booklet, I would say. But I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.